What happened while we were away brought to you by How You Govern, How You Win. Ron DeSantis in Florida made a big announcement this morning.
And so when you flagrantly violate your oath of office, when you make yourself above the law, you have violated your duty, you have neglected your duty, and you are displaying a lack of competence to be able to perform those duties. And so today we are suspending State Attorney Andrew Warren, effective immediately.
Andrew Warren is a George Soros-backed 13th Circuit State Attorney for Florida. Warren has a long track record of abusing and ignoring Florida law, including not prosecuting violent criminals, not enforcing Florida's ban on baby killing past a certain point, and has said he will not enforce any law banning so-called gender-affirming surgery for children. Warren is just one of many prosecutors and district attorneys around the country backed by left-wing billionaire nihilist George Soros. As if that wasn't good enough, DeSantis turned heads yesterday during a press conference where he addressed multiple issues.
One of the things that they're trying to do is they talk about these very young kids getting gender-affirming care. What they don't tell you what that is they're actually giving very young girls double mastectomies. They want to castrate these young boys. That's wrong. And so we've stood up and said, both from the health and children well-being perspective, you don't disfigure 10, 12, 13-year-old kids based on gender dysphoria. 80% of it resolves anyways by the time they get older. So why would you be doing this? I think these doctors need to get sued for what's happening. I'm sorry. They would shame people for even leaving their house in April, May 2020, and you can't do it. And some people wanted to bury loved ones. They wanted to do this. And the argument people were making is, well, wait a minute. I can look at the risk of COVID, and it's something that I'm willing to accept because these things mean more to me, to be able to bury a loved one or to be able to do things with my family. And the public health establishment, oh, no, you can't make that kind of cost-benefit analysis. Then, when the George Floyd riots were happening, they actually wrote a letter with thousands of these people signing it saying, we do not believe that rioting and protesting is bad for COVID, that you can do it. Go ahead. Because we think it's so important that you have to do it. And then they said, but this doesn't mean we support all protests. If you're protesting lockdown policies or other things, then you can't do that. And that's when I knew these people are a bunch of frauds.
Moving on, Joe Biden yesterday signed an executive order which aims to provide funding to women to travel out of state to kill their babies if they want. Here is Joe Biden, who tested positive for COVID yet again yesterday in isolation, wearing an N95 mask because checking in on Australia, where over 96% of the adult population has been fully jabbed and another 70% boosted. This chart from Ian Miller shows Australia has set a new record for deaths with COVID. Senator Rand Paul yesterday hosted a hearing on gain-of-function research featuring a few virologists with impressive credentials. Senator Josh Hawley was a part of the hearing and asked Dr. Stephen Quay, a decorated biologist, about his concerns regarding gain-of-function research.
Well, I think I testified here that in December 2019, they were doing synthetic biology on a cloning vector of the Nipah virus, which is 60% lethal. We just experienced a 1% lethal virus. My estimates would be that could set us back a millennium. The Black Plague was a 20% lethal event, and it was 250 years for civilization to return.
Move on! Nothing to see here! Please disperse! Nothing to see here, please!
The Senate voted yesterday to admit Sweden and Finland to Nato. The measure passed 95-1 with only Josh Hawley of Missouri voting no. Groomer update, here's a story that's gone viral. A female teacher in Tomball, Texas, received only 60 days in prison for her rape of a boy, one of her students. Reports say the sexual abuse of the boy started when he was just 12 and lasted for 3 years. The teacher admitted she started grooming the child while playing the video game Fortnite. And now meet Gays Against Groomers. Here's that group's founder, Jamie Michelle, on OAN.
What's happening now would make, I think Joseph Mengele, I believe that was his name, the Nazi doctor, this puts him to shame. They are basically using an entire generation of children as lab rats for this sick ideology, and they're full steam ahead with it, and they see us as a definite roadblock and a threat to that.
They're still counting ballots in Arizona for Tuesday's primary elections. That place is an abject mess. But it appears Carrie Lake has all but wrapped up the GOP gubernatorial nomination. She joined Charlie Kirk's show to discuss the moment we're living in the United States.
I am all about bringing this party together. We are in a culture war right now. Yes. Our children are in the crosshairs of the left, and we will not let them take our babies. They're not going to take our children's minds and poison our future. And so we're going to do big things for Arizona. I want to bring people together today and every day moving forward.
And finally, this from the Babylon Bee.
My name is Chris Smitherson, and I'm unvaccinated. Ever since Omicron hit, I just felt so alone. I feel so left out since all my vaccinated friends have COVID. Every time I see my vaccinated friends all hanging out inside, wearing masks because they all have COVID, I really start to regret my decision not to get the jab. Sometimes I fake a sneeze just to feel included, but they can tell I'm healthy.
And that's what happened while we were away.